Yes, Dheeraj. Who is going to start? Go ahead.
Uh, yeah, I've been with your teaching since so many years, and along the way I've also been reading Ve Bu Ve and Ramana Maharishi as well as Nisargadatta.
Yeah.
So
Only this? No more?
so
Okay, go ahead.
I would just like to say that all of a sudden this understanding has dawned
Yes.
from the source that the more I try to understand the teaching intellectually,
Yes.
I somehow feel that intellect is now a barrier. It's a intellectual understanding is now it's becoming an obstacle. In me being in that I am state. And if somewhere in your teachings you keep hinting that even Nisargadatta Maharaj used to say that intuitive understanding is more important, where the intellect doesn't interfere and the transformation is total. So somewhere it's happening by its own. And can you just put more light on that intuitive process?
What's happening to you? Am I to put light on? How do I put light on what is happening to you? What exactly is happening? What exactly is happening? And where's the problem?
Somehow I feel that there is now no need to read.
Fine, that's it.
And the more I try to read and more I try to digest it intellectually, I feel that it's kind of a barrier. Whereas just being with the teaching in a lighter way is much more.
Fine, where's the problem? That's what I would like to know. Where is the problem?
So, according to you, is this good or? I mean, I want your certification.
What do I certify, Dheeraj? What do I certify? That Dheeraj is now an enlightened man? What do I certify? No. The whole point is the fact that you need something to be certified, a lot still needs to happen. When there is final understanding, you don't need any certification from anybody. In fact, you don't want anything. Everything is precisely the way it is. So, anything else?
One more thing that I would like to ask you is that, many a times, many people keep asking me that, during your movement in life,
what do you mean during your movement in life?
during the phase of our life, or during while living our life, the so-called enlightenment means to them.
Now wait a minute. Many people ask you.
Yes. Because they think that perhaps I would be able to answer them.
Because they think Dheeraj is enlightened?
No. because they think that I am knowledgeable.
Why do many people ask you anything?
Because they know that I have been a spiritual seeker since so many years.
All right. Yeah. You have been a spiritual seeker.
Yeah.
Anyway, what is the question?
Yeah, and according to them, disturbances or negative thoughts in the mind shouldn't come to an enlightened person. Whereas when they see me reacting in an angry way or
so they decide Dheeraj is not enlightened, and that's your problem, not their problem.
So I just wanted to know. Okay, forget about their problem. I just wanted to know.
What is the problem?
The problem is that.
What is the question?
To an enlightened person.
Yes.
Will thoughts of
First,
negativity.
there is no enlightened person. Enlightenment has happened, and the most important thing the person realizes is the person cannot get enlightened. Enlightenment has happened. Okay, proceed.
Will he continue to get the negative thoughts and the so-called...
Now, what do you mean negative thoughts? Give me an example of a negative thought.
Anger.
Anger is not a negative thought. So, are you saying Is an enlightened person never supposed to get angry? Is that your question? And if therefore a supposedly enlightened person gets angry, he is not enlightened? What is the question?
The question is that will the frequency of anger after your teaching, will it continue to be the same? You know, I mean, I have seen that anger comes many a times, and then the teaching comes, you know, and then the anger subsides, you know. But many a times what happens, the anger is there, and you know, you go on with it and go on with it, and the teaching takes a lot of time to happen. So I just wanted to know that how the teaching has happened. Should anger also just happen?
First, who gets angry? Who gets angry?
For example, if someone passes a nasty remark,
Yes.
the ego, who is identified to the body-mind organism,
Yeah.
gets angry.
No, that is where you are fundamentally wrong. That is where you are fundamentally wrong. Your eyes see something, ears hear something. There is an immediate reaction. Any of the senses, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, finger. As soon as any sense is in contact with its object, there is an immediate reaction, which according to my concept is a biological reaction, depending on the genes and conditioning in that body-mind organism, over which the ego has no control, never had any control. Therefore, my fundamental concept is anger may arise, fear may arise, compassion may arise, but all these feelings are biological reactions over which the ego has no control. Then what happens? Then the ego gets involved in what is a biological reaction and decides, I was angry, I shouldn't get angry, I was afraid, I shouldn't get afraid. Or he was angry, she was afraid, but I am a compassionate man. See what I mean? Pride or guilt based on what is fundamentally a biological reaction. That is the difference. Where the understanding is there, the feeling is, anger is noticed to arise in a body-mind organism, which may be his own or someone else's. Therefore he doesn't say, I won't say I am angry, or Dheeraj is angry. I see any feeling arising in a body-mind organism, positive or negative, according to what I call the programming, genes and conditioning in that body-mind organism, over which the ego has no control at all. Therefore, if anger arises in a body-mind organism, you can't say that there is no enlightenment has not happened. Or compassion arises in it. You can't say that enlightenment has happened there. A biological reaction is something based on genes and conditioning in that body-mind organism, over which the ego has no control.
Even your teachings are conditioning, fresh conditioning?
Yes, very much so. Therefore, what I am telling you now is not truth. There is no truth. I have no truth to give you. I can only give you my concept and tell you what that concept has done for me. Then it's up to you to accept my concept or throw it out. All I can do is tell you my concept and tell you what that concept has done for me. See?
One more question.
Please, please.
How does one Many a times we notice that it has become a habit to carry the past on the head. So how does one let go of that past? Many a times the ego even glorifies being.
So your question is, what does one do to stop the thinking?
No. My question is, with your understanding, the past would continue to again be on the head, or it'll again, it's up to when everything's happening according to God's will.
Yeah.
Carrying the past on the head again is God's will, and letting go of it is again God's will.
Sure. But the question is, what do I have to do? It's fundamentally wrong. There's nothing you can do. Whatever is supposed to happen will happen. And yet, don't forget, and yet, every human being from the beginning of time has had the total free will to do whatever he or she wants to do in a given situation, to improve himself or herself physically, mentally, temperamentally or financially. Every human being has the total free will. That is fact number one. Basic fact number one. Every human being has total free will to do whatever he wants. You and I, as well as the psychopath. Psychopath is free to decide whom he will murder today. But the fact number two is, having decided what to do in a given situation and having done it, no human being ever has had any control over the result of his action. Two basic facts. Have you read the Bhagavad Gita?
Yes. Yes.
What is the core of what Lord Krishna tells Arjuna? What is the core of it?
He tells him to perform action without being attached to the action, or without thinking of the result of the action. Just performing pure action.
Lord Krishna has told Arjuna precisely what I have just told you. Believe me, Lord Krishna has told Arjuna precisely what I have just told you, which is, you are free to do what you like. Therefore, Lord Krishna says, I have told you the whole thing now. You decide what you want to do. You see? But he also tells Arjuna, you have the right to act. You have the total liberty to do whatever you want. But you have no right over the fruits of your action. You have the right to act, but you have no right over the fruits of your action. What does fruits of your action mean? The result and the consequence of that result. Isn't that precisely the 2 points I've told you? So if you take both the points together, what is the conclusion you arrive at? The human being has the total free will to do whatever he wants. Normal person or an abnormal person. But no one, normal or abnormal, has ever had any control over the result of his action. Both these facts together mean what? They mean the human being has always had total free will to do what he wants, but in practical daily living, that free will is utterly worthless. Is utterly worthless. So, having come to that conclusion, I ask myself, do I have that is quite clear. Why is it clear? What is my own experience? What is everybody's experience? Having done whatever I have done, what is my experience? My experience is, sometimes I have got what I wanted, sometimes I have not got what I wanted, and sometimes what I got was beyond expectation. Many times for the worse, sometimes for the better. Which of the three things happens? has never ever been in anyone's control. And thereafter what happens? Thereafter the society in which I live considers not what I have done. Society cannot know what I have done. Society can only consider what has happened. One of the three things over which I have no control as my action. Judge it as good or bad according to existing social regulations and legal provisions. Reward me or punish me. Reward from the society means pleasure in the moment. Punishment from the society means pain in the moment. And that really is what daily living is all about. I'm free to do whatever I want. But whether that results in pleasure or pain, nobody knows. You have to accept it. Therefore, my free will, yes, I certainly have, but it's worthless in practice. Then I affirm, do I have that at least in theory? So in theory, I said, what is the basis of my free will? Not easy. My free will, anybody's free will, what is the basis of my free will? And I was quite astonished to come to the conclusion that my free will is based only on two factors. There is no third factor. What is my free will is based only on two factors. My genes and the up-to-date conditioning. I had no control over being born to particular parents. Therefore, I had no control over the genes in this human object. And more research brings out how powerful this factor of genes is. The other is conditioning. Just as I had no control over being born to particular parents and therefore no control over the genes in this human object, I had no control over being born to particular parents in a particular geographical environment and a particular social environment. In which environment this body, mind organ, has received a bombardment of conditioning from day one. Conditioning at home, the way my parents and other family members behave, conditioning in that society, how people in that society behave, conditioning in school and college in that environment, conditioning from church or temple, a bombardment of conditioning. This is good, that is bad, you must do this, you must not do that. This is socially acceptable, that is socially not acceptable. This is a sin and God will punish you. See? And sometimes you are told, you are born in sin. Every step you take, you commit a sin. And God is waiting there with a huge computer, jotting down every sin you commit, waiting to punish you. So my point is, and what I say up-to-date conditioning, because while the genes is more or less stable, is stable, your conditioning is most volatile. Every moment, whatever you read, hear, experience, can alter or amend your existing conditioning or even transform it. So what is happening now, my talking to you, is fresh conditioning based on my concept which I pass on to you, which also can amend or alter your existing conditioning or totally transform it. Therefore my point is, at any moment, whatever anybody has done is based on these two factors over which the ego had no control. Therefore, the conclusion, inevitable, undeniable conclusion is, the human being does have total free will, but both in theory and practice is worthless. In theory, Whatever I've done is based on two factors, genes over which I have no control. Then, who did have control over these two factors in this body-mind organism? God did. God has infused these two factors in this body-mind organism, based on which is every action happens through this body-mind organism, which the society considers my action and results in pleasure or pain. Therefore, the conclusion, inevitable, undeniable conclusion is, whatever I've been doing all my life, whatever I've just done, is based on two factors which God infused in this. Therefore, whatever I've been doing is precisely what God expected me to do. Whatever I've just done is exactly what God expects me to do. And in future, whatever I shall be doing is precisely what God expects me to do. More accurately, whatever I've been thinking is my action, it has never been my action, but it's God functioning through this body-mind organism and bringing about whatever is supposed to happen according to His will or according to cosmic law. Therefore, every human being has the total free will to do what he wants, but in actual fact, it's God functioning through me for every human being. Therefore, whatever is at any moment is precisely the way it is supposed to be. So the result is, my inevitable conclusion, I cannot commit a sin. The murderer cannot commit a sin, the psychopath cannot commit a sin. Therefore, I don't have to fear God. I don't have to fear God. If I don't have to fear God, nothing has stopped me from loving God as my Creator. But the fact remains, in daily living, I don't have to fear God, I don't have to fear my own conscience, but I have to fear the society in which I live. Every action, I can never know whether it will result in pleasure or pain, over which I have no control. So, daily living means being responsible to the society in which I live, and the society judges not my action, but the result of my action over which I have no control. Therefore, the very basis of daily living is uncertainty. I am free to do whatever I am. Whatever happens is God's action. And whether the society will reward me or punish me is again according to God's will, cosmic law, and my destiny. Therefore, no human being is capable of doing anything. Every human being is merely an instrument through which life happens according to God's will, cosmic law. Total acceptance of this concept is, for me, enlightenment. Total acceptance of this. I repeat, everything in the world is happening according to God's will, cosmic law. How each happening affects whom for better or worse, again according to God's will, cosmic law. Through which body, mind, organ, through which person the happening happens, which the society calls my action or your action or his action or her action, is again a happening according to God's will, cosmic law. The human being is incapable of doing anything. Why? Why, Dheeraj? Why is the human being incapable of doing anything? Because fundamentally, every human being is nothing more than a three-dimensional object. What is fundamentally every human being? A three-dimensional object of a particular variety. If you analyze it, first there is a stone in which there is no life, apparent life. then there is a growing plant which grows by itself. Nobody waters it. Therefore, there is life in the growing plant. Then there is an animal in which there is life in a three-dimensional object, and there is an ego, a feeling of being a separate entity. And the fourth is the human being. The human being is an animal, therefore there is life, there is a feeling of being a separate entity. In the human being, the separate entity with a sense of personal doership, which is not there in the animal. And intellect, intelligence, to ask questions and be unhappy. Therefore, all four are fundamentally three-dimensional objects. How can a three-dimensional object do anything? Total acceptance of this, according to my concept, means enlightenment. More important, according to me, the Indians, also, particularly the Indian seeker, doesn't ask himself the basic questions which I asked myself and was miserable because no one could give me the answer. What is enlightenment? I've just told you what is according to my concept. More important, my question was, I am supposed to seek enlightenment. Why? More important, what will enlightenment do for me for the rest of my life that I didn't have before? See what I mean? Who is seeking enlightenment? Me, Ramesh. Therefore I am asking, what if I do get enlightenment? What will enlightenment do for me for the rest of my life that I didn't have before? See what I mean? Unfortunately, that is why. That is what the average seeker doesn't, and ends up in frustration. An example is someone, more than one, sitting there, and because at that time only about 5 or 6 people were there, he dared to confess. He said, Ramesh, I have been a spiritual seeker for 35 years. I am a man of strong determination, strong will. And with my hand on my heart, I can assure you, I've never done anything I'm not supposed to do. I've done everything I'm supposed to do. And yet, uncontrollable sobbing. And yet, after 35 years, I'm still not enlightened. Uncontrollable sobbing. The frustration. And not just an isolated case. So after he had settled down, I asked him a question. Why do you think you are not enlightened? Is that not a fair question? Somebody tells me he's uncontrollable, so I'm not enlightened. So I asked him, why do you say you are not enlightened? When will you know if you do become enlightened? Same thing. And he was stunned by my question. He never even thought about it. And that is not an isolated case. So I asked myself, why is it that an average Indian seeker doesn't ask the two fundamental questions, according to me, the fundamental questions? Why? The only answer I came to is because the average Indian seeker does not see the need to ask these questions. The Indian does not see the need to ask this question. Why? Because He honestly believes that once there is enlightenment, he will be God. Therefore, for him, no more pain, no more mistakes to be made for which the society punishes him. He will be a perfect human being and he will have special powers to be in 2 or 3 places at the same time, know everything that goes on anywhere. And if he drives a car in a heavy traffic, wants to park, then someone will leave and make a room for him to park his car. He is God. You see what I mean? Therefore, I told this person, you have come here, do you think I'm enlightened? He said, yes, that's why I've come here. So would you like to know what enlightenment has done for me? He said, yes. So I said, first let me tell you what enlightenment has not done for me. I still suffer pain. I still make mistakes for which the society punishes me. I have no extra powers. I have no special powers. So he looks at me. The question writ large, then what am I seeking enlightenment for? Then I said, would you like to know what I have got? He said, yes. Well, not so enthusiastically. So, 3 most important things he wanted I haven't got. Yes. So I said, I'll tell you. All I have got is what I call peace of mind. I have no control over what the next moment will bring. Pleasure or pain. I'm forced to accept it. So if a headache makes me uncomfortable, I can't help it. If a dear friend lets me down, nothing I can do. Therefore, whatever happens in life, pleasure or pain, I'm forced to accept. Therefore, my focal question for any of us is anyone like us reasonably comfortable in life, for which we have to be eternally grateful to God, and who also has the common sense to know the very basis of life is uncertainty. No one knows what the next moment is going to bring, pleasure or pain. No one can know the total amount of pleasure and pain one is supposed to experience in one's life. And that is supposed to be predetermined. In such circumstances, which clearly show that daily living is imprisonment. No one has any control over whatever happens. In such circumstances, what does someone like us want most in life? That is my focal question.
I would say happiness.
Quite right. Happiness.
Being comfortable with the things.
No, that you heard me tell you. So, what does a human being want? Happiness. I agree with you. Therefore, I decided, from the moment a newborn baby seeks his mother's breast intuitively, what every human being has been seeking from the beginning of time is happiness. For the newborn baby, mother's milk is happiness. The baby grows up into a school-going boy. For him, happiness means love from the parents, success in the classroom, success in the playing field. That is happiness. The boy grows into an adult, and the adult decides. Happiness means pleasures. As much pleasure, as little as pain. Therefore, he pursues pleasure with the mistaken notion that he is pursuing happiness. The average adult pursues pleasure with the mistaken notion that he is pursuing happiness. Most adults, according to their destiny, God's will, cosmic law, continue to pursue pleasure, live a frustrated life, and often die a frustrated death. But a few among them, like us, fortunate soul, God's favorites I call, Allah ke pyare. So few people like us decide, I know what pleasure is. Some pleasures I haven't got, but even if I get all the pleasures, I do know that I'm still seeking something, which I call happiness. Therefore, the most important conclusion some of us has to come to, every one of us has come to the most important conclusion which I came to, that the happiness I'm seeking is not to be found in the pleasures of life. Most important conclusion. Therefore, the happiness I'm seeking is not to be found in the flow of life. Flow of life can only mean pleasures. In my experience, it doesn't have happiness. Therefore, the most important conclusion to come to is the happiness I'm seeking is not to be found in the flow of life. Therefore, the corollary, where is it to be found? The only answer is, it has obviously to be found in my attitude to life. The happiness is not to be found in life, but in my attitude to life. So the very big question, what do I mean by my attitude to life? Such a big thing. What do I mean by that was a long question, took a long time, lot of misery. Any answer I got I had to throw out, not adequate. Until I came to one answer, which was for me the real answer. What do I mean by my attitude to life? And I came to the conclusion that my attitude to life can only mean my attitude towards the other. What is daily living from morning till night? Me and the other. The other may be my parent or wife or son or a close relative or a neighbor or someone connected with my business or occupation or a total stranger. Whoever the other is, the closest relative or the distant stranger, my happiness depends on my attitude towards the other, whoever the other is. Then my next question was simple. What has been my attitude towards the other so far, which has not brought me the happiness I'm seeking? What is the answer, dear? What is the answer? What has been the basis of Dheeraj's attitude towards the other, which has not brought him the happiness he is seeking?
That the other is responsible for his own, as in, for example, if he gets angry, I think that he is getting angry. Whereas, according to the teaching, according to...
What bloody teaching are you referring to?
I am referring to your teaching.
I am not concerned with my teaching or your teaching. I am concerned with the analysis that is being done. My analysis being done, which comes to the conclusion, the happiness I am seeking depends entirely on my attitude towards the other. And my experience has been that I don't have the happiness. Therefore I have to find out what has been my attitude towards the other so far, which has not brought me the happiness I am seeking. What has been Dheeraj's attitude towards the other, whoever the other is.
For example, if a person in my office,
Not for example. Give me a straight answer. What is the basis of Dheeraj's attitude? And
is it of doing?
I found that the answer which I came to, the answer applies to every human being. Why is among the millions of human beings, why is no one really happy? Because the relationship with the other is such that it cannot bring happiness. Therefore, what is the basis of that relationship between me and the other, which has not brought me the happiness, so that I can alter it?
Many a time it's of hatred, it's of many negatives.
Think all you want, and the only answer is rivalry. The basis of my relationship with the other has always been a rivalry. We hear reports every day. Brother has killed a brother, son has killed the father, father has killed the son, over property rights or whatever. And also, the basis of my relationship with the other has been potential rivalry, suspicion and rivalry, whoever the other is. And what is more, there is the basis of relationship even between little brothers and children, brothers and sisters and children. What is the basis? Rivalry. Even among little children.
But my experience has been with some of my very good most of them is that of love.
Oh.
I mean, of course.
Are you prepared to take a lie detector test? My relationship with having love. What do you mean by love? Tell me.
You said rivalry.
So rivalry is simple. Even little brothers, there's sibling rivalry. In psychology, there's this technical word, sibling rivalry. Rivalry even among little brothers and children who have not heard of any teaching, mine or anybody else's. And what do you find? Rivalry. If somebody sells a cake, I'll see that cake. If there are 4 brothers and sisters, what will be the attitude? Everybody wants the whole cake. The mother says no. So there are 4 brothers and sisters. What does the mother do? 4 pieces. Then what every child does? Which is the biggest piece? Rivalry, even among brothers and sisters. Therefore, the conclusion I came to? Total frustration. I said the basis of the relationship, any human being, is suspicion and rivalry. And that is why the human being has not been happy. And more, it simply means that I am not entitled to be happy. God wants me to remain unhappy. That is why the relationship between every human being and there has been rivalry. Therefore, no human being, God does not intend any human being to be happy. That is the conclusion I came to. And believe me, and what I am describing to you is what happened to me after 40 years of pursuing enlightenment. I pursued enlightenment for 40 years and ended up in frustration. Thereafter, I must find out for myself, throughout all the teaching, all that the various teachings have done, it brings me a collection of conflicting concepts. Therefore I decided, what am I seeking? Happiness. So what I am talking from personal experience. So I decided it's futile to seek happiness. Therefore I surrendered my intellect, I surrendered my search for happiness, surrendered my search to God. I said, I'm not going to seek happiness anymore. And when I had totally, in all humility, surrendered this pursuit of happiness, then the answer came to me from outside. From outside can only be from the source of God. The answer was, you're wrong. I don't intend you to remain unhappy. I intend every human being to be happy. But the only point is, the basis on which that happiness depends, the human being has thrown out. The human being has not stuck to the basis on which the happiness depends. And that, incidentally, is the basis of every religion. That is the answer I got. So earlier I had decided, not that I hadn't thought about it, but can there be the same basis for them? Why should they be all this? Can there not be the basis for every religion? The answer was no. If there were one basis for every religion, we wouldn't have had wars for thousands of years, not only between religion and religion, but between various sects in the same religion. Therefore, I had come to the conclusion there cannot be any basis for every religion. But here was the answer from God. There is one basis for every religion. So my search at that point was, what is the basis of every religion? And then fortuitously, although I was no student of the Bible, the 4 words in the Bible came to my notice. Thy will be done. Thy will be done. 4 simple words. The meaning of which clearly is, nothing can happen unless it is God's will. Therefore, whatever the situation the world is in, every human being in, whatever the situation I find myself in, is precisely what is supposed to be according to God's will and I, the cosmic law. That is, thy will be done. Islam, I am told, says the same thing. Then some time ago someone told me the literal meaning of the word Islam.
Peace. It means peace.
No. It means surrender. I'm told, I'm not, but I'm told the literal meaning of the word Islam is surrender. And then, what does a 3-dimensional object have to surrender to God? What does the human being have? He is born with nothing, he lives with nothing. What does the human being have to surrender to God? The only answer is his supposed personal will. So that means if I accept thy will, I have to surrender my will. The Hindu religion, Islam therefore agrees totally with thy will be done. And what does the Hindu religion tell me? Same thing, more powerful way. The Hindu religion tells me, thou art the doer, thou art the experiencer. Thou art the speaker, thou art the listener. It looks as if Ramesh speaks, Dheeraj listens. Dheeraj speaks, Ramesh listens. But would either of them be able to do anything, speaking or listening or anything, if both of them were in deep sleep or sedated into unconsciousness? Therefore, who does any doing? Consciousness does the doing, consciousness does the speaking through one human instrument, listening through another instrument. Therefore, the human being is incapable of doing anything for the simple reason, fundamentally every human being is merely a 3-dimensional object. Therefore, the basis of every religion has been thy will be done. That means at any time, whatever is in this world is precisely what is supposed to be according to God's will or cosmic law.
Coming back to your children rivalry,
Yes.
there is rivalry among children, right? That's why, and among any relationship, right? So that's God's will, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And competition, war, disease, everything in the world is God's will, right?
Yes. But why do wars happen? Because of rivalry. Anything has rivalry. And yet, rivalry exists in spite of the basis of every religion being. Nothing can happen unless it is God's will. So, from that moment, I had my firm concept about enlightenment. At this point, I said what it then means is, what do I have to accept? Thy will be done, yes. But what do I have to accept? Then I came to the conclusion, my basic concept which I call enlightenment, and that is, everything in the world is happening according to the cosmic law of God's will. How each happening affects whom, for better or worse, is again according to God's will, cosmic law. Through which body, mind, instrument, through which person a happening happens, which the society considers your action or my action or his action or her action, is a happening according to God's will, cosmic law. The human being is incapable of doing anything. The total acceptance of this concept is according to my concept, enlightenment. And what will enlightenment do for me? My experience has been peace of mind. So I asked what does peace of mind mean? Peace of mind, again, it is not easy. Like, what do I mean by my attitude to that? Not easy. The only conclusion that I could accept is, what do I really mean when I am peace of mind? The only answer which satisfied me, I would say I am in peace of mind when I am never uncomfortable with myself and I am never uncomfortable with the other. Why have I been uncomfortable with myself so far, which has denied me the happiness? My sense of personal doership. In what way? Because I have been carrying a load of guilt and shame for my actions which have hurt others, and a bigger load of hatred for others who have hurt me. But now, if I am accept totally, no one is capable of doing anything, then both the loads of guilt and shame for my action and the bigger load of hatred for others, both those loads just disappear. No more guilt and shame for my action. Therefore I am comfortable with myself. No more hatred for the other. Therefore I am comfortable with the other. And that is peace of mind. And that is all I have got. And for me, that is the happiness which every human being is seeking, whether he knows it or not. Okay? So, any question? Yes, please. No, this is being recorded and the wires are not long enough. Please.
Okay.
Don't go there.
I'm finished.
When I finish, listen.
Somebody wants to come and sit over here?
Yes.
No, my question is already answered.
He is my friend Sanjay,
I see.
and he's first time come to here.
You see, that is why I am concerned not with giving you answers which satisfy you.
Sanjay, he's speaking to?
The answers I give, not with a view to satisfy you, but what is the right according to me. It is your privilege to accept my answer or throw it out. Please. Ah. Yes, dear, please. Yes, sir.
Okay, so now I'm
Or
on
shall we
the,
say
in the hot
ladies
seat.
first? You're not together, are you?
No, no.
Ah, yes, please.
Okay, so my question is really
Yes.
about relief from...
One moment.
Yeah.
Your name is
Kunal.
Kunal.
My question is
You are
really...
not Shalini's son.
I am.
I see. I thought, yes. Go ahead.
So my question is really about relief from psychological pain.
Yes.
So I've suffered from severe depression
I know that, yes.
for many years on and off.
Yes.
And it often has nothing to do with the circumstances. In fact, by societal standards, looking at objectively,
No one can.
I should not be depressed.
Anybody would be happy to change places with you.
I mean, at least when there's no reason. I don't get depressed about something. So there's just a feeling of depression. And during those times, there have been times I've contemplated suicide. I've thought, what's the
Yes.
point of continuing?
Yes.
And I've often thought about, okay, the teachings like yours, I've thought, if I'm simply a body-mind organism, which
Yes.
there's nothing inherently precious about life.
I entirely agree with you.
Okay, so I think, why not end this pain, this psychological pain?
Yes.
And I don't think it has anything to do with rivalry. At least consciously, I don't think it has anything to do with rivalry. I'm not...
No, wait a minute. No. This has nothing to do with your relationship with the other. This has to do with the basic fact that daily living means pleasure or pain the next moment, which nobody can know.
Okay. But
That nothing to
when
do
you have
with...
such an overwhelming pain, and you also feel, I don't feel guilt or shame about it. I'm not...
No, again, that is your relationship with the other. This is what happens from moment to moment. And pain, physical pain or psychological pain, both come under pain, over which no one ever has had any control.
So I agree, it's probably my genes and my conditioning that's causing this depression. But the question keeps coming up then, if there is such pain and life is not inherently precious,
Yes.
why not commit suicide? And probably the only reason I haven't done it so far is because of the pain I'm going to cause my wife, my family.
Yes. That reason is only an apparent reason.
Fair enough. Okay, but that's the reason I say consciously.
Yes, that's the apparent reason. What is the real reason? You know what the real reason is?
No.
It is not Kunal's destiny to commit suicide. Kunal's destiny is to die either a natural death or a murder or accident. Kunal's destiny is not to commit suicide.
I think
Therefore, Kunal is not committed suicide. Apparent reason is you don't want to hurt the others.
fair enough. I may have some ambivalence about committing.
Go ahead. Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make is that I understand many of these things intellectually.
Yes.
That it's genes, conditioning.
Yes.
I don't feel guilt or shame. I don't even ask myself why it's me.
Wait a minute. That is again later. What we are talking about, we cannot go beyond that. What we are talking about is pain in the moment.
Fair enough. But when you have such pain,
Yes.
the question keeps coming up.
What do I do?
This teaching is not worth it for me. I mean, because if I'm going to feel this pain, and I think you can apply this to physical pain too.
Now look, this teaching does not apply to Kunal when he is in psychological pain. This teaching does not apply to someone who is suffering pain of cancer. That is pain which every human being is bound to accept. He has no choice. That's why I said this life is nothing but imprisonment. We are forced to live our life in the circumstances in which we have been placed, and the only thing someone like you and me can understand it, you may be in psychological pain, but as you have said yourself, you are in a situation which most people would envy you. Therefore,
It doesn't help. Even
it doesn't help, but it doesn't help. Why does it not help? Because it is Kunal's destiny to have to suffer that pain. That is the whole point.
so, what I'm hearing from you is that it doesn't apply to me, so I should get up and go on
Yes,
and just
but
suffer the
wait a
pain.
minute. But there is, if you ask me, is there, in that situation, do I have any suggestion for you? Yes.
If
I
it's
do
going to
have
be
it.
take medications.
No,
do
I'm not,
psychotherapy,
no,
done all
not,
that.
no, because that may apply to my teaching. No. The only suggestion I have for someone like you who says, I have pain which I cannot bear, and if it were not for the fact that my suicide would hurt my people, I would have committed suicide 10 times. That is the situation. So is there any suggestion I have, Kunal? Yes, I have. And that is, you think you pity yourself for the very bad psychological pain you're suffering.
It used to be pity. I think I've gone. It's not pity now. It's about relief from the pain.
Yeah. So now my point is, the suggestion I have is, if I am suffering, again I repeat, when I say I or you, someone like us, reasonably comfortable in life, I am suffering some pain. The only suggestion I have is, all I have to do is think of the pain millions of people are suffering, which is so much worse than what my pain is, that any one of them would gladly exchange places with me.
I've done that, and then I feel guilty about feeling the pain. About, why am I still feeling pain if I'm so comfortable?
Then you say, the pain I have is my destiny. The worst pain they suffer is their destiny, over which nobody has any control. And that is the imprisonment which I consider as life.
But the heart of the problem is the pain is painful.
Yes, I
And,
agree.
what is the point of continuing to live?
No, well, I'll tell you, the point is,
There is no point. You're going to tell me.
no, the point is,
Okay.
when there is pleasure, Kunal can enjoy the pleasure. When there is pain, don't tell me Kunal has not enjoyed pleasures in life. Kunal has enjoyed pleasures in life. Similarly, Kunal has to suffer the pain in life.
Well,
I'm not saying easy, I'm not saying it difficult. I entirely agree with you that oftentimes you must have thought of committing suicide. But I've also told you the reason why you didn't commit suicide, not the apparent reason.
or not yet.
So, there again, whether Kunal, this is my basic point here is, the moment conception takes place, the destiny has started. The individual destiny has started according to God's will, cosmic law. Whether that conception will born into a baby, or whether it will be thrown out, is the destiny of that conception. If that destiny is to be born a baby, how long the baby will live? Few hours, few days, or a number of years? And how that death will happen? Natural death, murder, accident or suicide is part of the destiny. And everything that is going to happen to that born baby during its entire life, every moment, has already been predetermined as its destiny, over which nobody can do anything. That is why I said, seeing all this, no one would willingly be born a human being.
But you say what I keeps coming up in my mind when you say that is, I mean, these are things I've already thought of. I mean, maybe I understand it intellectually. I'm not claiming in any way to be enlightened. The point that comes up is, so
You
then
have to
this,
suffer.
so
You have
frankly,
to suffer.
this type of teaching is of no help to someone like me. Now, I guess I'm looking for help from a teaching, which may be the problem to begin
Yeah,
with.
but you can't. Nobody can help you, Kunal. If your destiny is to suffer, if it's God's will that you have to suffer, how can anyone, any teaching help you? And even there, my point is, Kunal suffers, I accept. I entirely sympathize with you. But even there, fact remains that in spite of that pain, Kunal would not be ready to exchange places with many other people, thousands of other people. Kunal would not agree to exchange places with thousands of other people whose pain is worse. I'm not saying that it helps to reduce your pain.
No, I know what you mean.
But if Kunal thinks on these lines, that I am suffering, but there are thousands of people whose pain is so much worse than mine, then what will Kunal do as far as God is concerned? He will thank God for his suffering. Kunal will thank God for his suffering.
When I'm in the pain,
No.
when I'm feeling that pain, these type of thoughts don't help.
Then no thinking will help. No thinking will help. I agree with that. But there again, at anybody, even there, the intensity of my pain depends on my natural, according to my genes, ability to bear pain. Ability to bear pain. And that is again part of your destiny. A body-mind only. Born as a Brahmin, I will have the ability to bear pain.
As a
Brahmin will have much less ability to bear pain than a soldier. There again is my destiny.
I guess I'm looking for a solution.
What you are looking for is something to reduce, like aspirin for a headache.
Unfortunately, it hasn't worked.
And that you have already got. Because of which your pain now is much less than it used to be. Isn't that right?
It goes up and down.
But for pain, physical or psychological, beyond a certain limit of endurance, there is no remedy. And what is the extent of my ability to bear pain? My genes, over which I have no control.
So, what I'm hearing is, beyond a certain point, there is no hope for feeling at peace.
Ashlesha?
Arshia.
Aisha. Hina's daughter?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm a little confused.
Yes.
At
You're not the only one. Go ahead.
At one point in time, you've been saying that everything is God's will, cosmic law,
Yes.
right? But at the same time, in the same breath, you're also saying that we're still free. We have free will to do whatever we please to improve ourselves financially, temperamentally.
But the result has never been in your control. The result has never ever been in your control.
True, but if you're saying that I'm free to do whatever I want, like I'm
Yes.
free to wear this T-shirt today and not a black T-shirt, for example.
Yes.
But I believe that even that's not I'm not free to make that choice.
I
It's-
entirely agree.
so then we're not free to.
I'll tell you what. A black shirt or red shirt. Suppose someone has planned a murder for someone. He says, whom do I murder? He's a murderer. The one who wears a red shirt. Therefore, whether you wear a black shirt or a red shirt has already been predetermined.
So then it's not my free will at all.
No.
So I'm not free to improve.
No, you do have free will, but it is worthless both in theory and practice.
Yeah, because anyways it's all predetermined. So I don't feel that I am like there is any free will at all. to
No,
do
wait a
anything.
minute. If every human being has not had total free will to do anything in any situation, the mechanism of daily living could not have happened. For the mechanism of daily living to happen, God was forced to give every human being, including the psychopath, total free will to do anything.
No, but daily
Therefore-
living can also happen with the will of God.
Yes, but the point is, I repeat, your free will is worthless, both in theory and practice. But daily living means every human being is forced to exercise his free will as if he had free will. Knowing that he doesn't have free will, or knowing that he does have free will. Whether I believe I have free will or not, every human being is forced to do whatever he wants or not do in a given situation. Because that is the basis of the mechanism of daily living.
But even if you're at a crossroad and you say, okay, either I take this path or I take that path, whichever path you choose, it's not your free will, it's as it is predetermined.
Yes. Therefore, your free will is worthless in practice. But what you are saying is, in that case, I have no free will. Is that what you are saying?
Right.
Now wait a minute. I'll tell you what. Supposing you go and buy a machine. You pay a lot of money for it. It's a beautiful machine. So you try it at home, works beautifully. Then you invite some friends to show what a lovely machine I have, so that you will be admired and envied. Then what happens? You call it, press the button, nothing happens. You keep on pressing, nothing happens. Therefore what has happened? Your machine is worthless, but you still have the bloody machine. Your machine is worthless. That doesn't mean you have no machine. Similarly, you do have free will, which is worthless, but you still have the free will. You see
Makes
what I
sense,
mean?
yes.
And also we have been using it. Now we know, for instance, the sun doesn't go anywhere. Sun is stationary, the earth revolves. And yet, we have no problem using the word sunrise and sunset. We still, as if the sun rises and sets. Similarly, we live our life as if we have free will, knowing we have no free will. Okay? Yes. Would you like Kunal to be there or no?
Yes.
Okay.
No one asked me.
I will ask you. Yeah,
Yes,
Ramesh,
Shalini.
your teachings have made enormous
I
difference to
know
the
it
quality
has
of my life
I know that.
since
I know that.
1991.
Yes. And I know. And I remember you came in very difficult circumstances.
Yes. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because it has helped me and strengthened me even to be with Kunal.
Yes.
So I,
And bear his suffering.
yes, yes. and do everything in my power.
Without having committed suicide, not able to bear his suffering.
Yes, yes. So I want to thank you.
That-
Thanks the source,
Yes.
and I couldn't be more grateful for the
Yeah.
quality of my
and
life.
I know that, and what is more, it is according to my destiny, you have expressed your gratitude in no uncertain terms in giving your donation to me.
And
My destiny.
I feel you missed a point. And I know you may say, now I can anticipate some of your reactions. You may say that it's hope, but I want you to know.
I'm sorry?
You may say that what I'm saying is hope, but it's not hope.
Oh, no, I mean, why do you
No,
say?
because I'm just going to say what I'm going to say, and that is, I feel that, God willing, if transformation is meant to happen, it can happen even in the quality of his life. And that I have full faith in. And it may not happen. And I'm open to the possibility.
Yes, Shalini, that is what I mean by destiny.
So it may be his destiny.
Begins with just the conception.
Yes. So it may be his destiny at some point. And I think this is the first, he's been away for so many years in the US, and he's been coming. This is the first time that he has himself come and sat there. And he's also trying out another form of therapy, which I think is absolutely unique, and that is this cerebrospinal therapy, CST. And that is known, and this person that I know is supposed to be highly qualified for that. And there's every possibility that the happenings of these two things may alter. And I won't be disappointed if it doesn't happen. But I just want to put it out that it's possible.
So therefore, what you have just said is, comes under mind. Every human being has the total free will to use anything at his disposal.
Yes.
To do anything to improve himself physically, mentally, temperamentally, or financially.
Yes.
And this is what you are saying, another new thing has come, which if it is destined to help, no reason why it shouldn't help.
And in your presence, I wanted to underscore that to him. That's all.
Oh, there is no question.
That's all I wanted to
No,
say.
my point is, Kunal has no reason to believe that his suffering will not end.
It's been there since so many years now. It's
Yeah.
hard to believe.
But that doesn't mean...
The genes don't change.
Yes, it has not changed all these years. It doesn't mean it cannot change tomorrow.
Miracles do happen.
Yeah.
It's a fact of life.
But in terms of probabilities, it's pretty low.
But even in terms of probability, how do you know? In terms of probability, the cerebrospinal thing, they will say, my statistics say, no, you're wrong. My statistics, my probability is that he will succeed.
That's what I'm going to try.
You see? So probability from your angle, probability from the angle of the one who practices it. All you can do is try it with the understanding that the result has never ever been in anyone's control, so that you avoid frustration. Okay?
All right.